Hello and welcome to AidanEyewitness. I'm here looking in the mirror at Castlefield Viaduct in the southwest of Manchester city centre, and in this video I'm going to do a comparison between Leeds and Manchester in terms of new development, especially apartments, and how the heritage is incorporated, particularly the railway heritage. So I think we'll start off with a quiz. Leeds and Manchester share a lot in common. Magnificent heritage architecture, for instance. So here's a quick quiz. Can you guess which of the two cities these buildings are in? This one is in Manchester, and this is Leeds. This is, of course, Leeds, and this is Manchester. Leeds, Manchester, Leeds, Manchester, Manchester, Leeds, Manchester, Manchester, Leeds, Manchester, Leeds, and Leeds. They've got a lot in common. I often think Leeds could be Manchester in an alternative universe, or vice versa. But what about modern architecture, tall buildings? Here there seems to be a difference. Both are developing high-rise residential districts just to the south of the city centre. In Manchester we have the tall glass towers of Deansgate Square, built on empty former industrial land. Taller than in Leeds. Some say they're too tall, others not tall enough. Some say they should be built with more brick, others say they shouldn't have been built at all. In Leeds there are tall towers, not as tall as the ones in Manchester, and they seem to prefer brick. Some say they should have used glass. Actually, there are glass towers elsewhere in Leeds, and white ones. We are next to a canal. It's the Leeds and Liverpool Canal. Liverpool is 127 miles along the canal, 200 kilometres. Where once factories looked onto the water, now it's apartment buildings. City districts over decades have gone from industrial to residential. The tall towers are often built on the relics of factories and long-abandoned railways. After the beaching cuts of the 1960s, they started to obliterate some of the old railway architecture, but later they decided to incorporate it into the new cityscape. And in both Leeds and Manchester, we have interesting case studies of old railway viaducts that have found a new use. As you walk along the canal in Leeds, you see this bridge over the water. But it's not a bridge, it's a viaduct. This is Monk Bridge Viaduct, built in 1884. It once ran between the old Leeds Central Station and the main lines to the south. They were going to demolish it, but it was saved, and now it acts as the gateway to new residential towers. It serves as a walkway, a linear garden, and there are sports facilities at the far end, where it looks on to the main line tracks of today. Some relics remain, including an old mechanical railway signal, and up towards the centre they've retained and restored a tower that was once a steam-powered railway wagon hoist and turned it into a museum, so we can really discover what used to be here and compare it with the contemporary office buildings all around today. The old Leeds Central Station wasn't much of an architectural gem, but it played a key role in the past, before all services moved to the new station. Now let's jump back across to Manchester to take a look at the Castlefield Viaduct, which also leads south out of the city centre from a different central station, which wasn't demolished. The viaduct was built in 1892, during the heyday of the railway age. The latticework design is a strong motif from that time. Actually, would you believe, I once sat on a steam train and looked out through that latticework at the ancient oily engines and the grimy industrial scenes beyond. I was around 6 at that time and fascinated with what I saw. I still am today. So it was great to revisit the Castlefield Viaduct, this time on foot. Actually, I already went to the viaduct to photograph it as it was before it was renovated. I didn't go beyond the fence. The National Trust took it on and they've restored a section of it. They recently obtained funding to continue the restoration down to the end. So it will become a kind of high line, linking the new residential areas with Castlefield and the city centre. They've planted many bushes and flowers. There's a great emphasis on bringing nature into the city. There are great views over the city, nowadays with new towers, still with railway lines. There are Metrolink trams moving along the neighbouring viaduct practically every minute or so. The viaduct is a retreat from the city, a walkway above the roads, canals and rails, but the sounds and sights of transport are part of the experience. The trams are a few feet away, trains down below on all sides, boats on the canals, traffic on the roads, and planes cruising silently high overhead. There's a visitor centre about halfway along where groups can sit down, do activities and learn more. I think that here the National Trust have done a great job and I look forward to seeing the fully restored viaduct. Both Manchester and Leeds are pioneering the concept of city living. That's to say, residing in the midst of the city among busy roads, rail lines, canals and rivers, with the constant hum of the city all around. I love it. And now I'd like to compare 2 roundabouts, one in Manchester, one in Leeds. Very close to the Castlefield Viaduct is the Hume roundabout. Most people know it as it is today, with its slip roads, traffic lights, cycle lanes and the A57 Mancunian Way passing underneath. But I can remember it when it was just a wide surface roundabout with a long rickety metal flyover that carried the A56 from one side to another. I used to enjoy driving over it in my VW Beetle. And now let's soar over the Pennines back to Leeds, and there, not far from the old railway viaduct, there is also a roundabout, or more correctly, it's a gyratory. The Armley Gyratory. A gyratory is a large roundabout with something in the middle. The Hanger Lane Gyratory in London is one example. The Armley Gyratory has been under renovation for the past few years, but it's still not finished. You'll still find, in May 2025, temporary signage and lane restrictions. Like all gyratories, it can be tricky to use and it's easy to miss your exit. Will it ever be finished? And its shape is echoed by a circular building nearby, a Grade 2 listed former steam engine maintenance building dating from 1847. In Leeds, as in Manchester, tall residential buildings are sited next to busy roads. Here are 2 under construction next to Wellington Street. They seem to be taking shape rather slowly. We can see the progress over 4 months. This tower is called Lisbon Street, that's Lisbon, Lisbon, a 24-storey PBSA or Purpose-Built Student Accommodation project, set for completion in 2025. There will be over 500 single-occupancy, ensuite student bedrooms. The exterior, when finished, will be in brick. Just nearby, occupying a commanding position next to the main road, a gateway to Leeds, not far from the River Aire and the Leeds and Liverpool Canal, is a tall, curved building that's been under construction for the past few years. Only in recent months have we been able to see the exterior, and it's brick. The building has a very distinctive design. It's curved, consisting of 2 legs joined together further up, set back at the top, leaving space for roof terraces. It's been nicknamed the Transformer. This is Triangle Yard by developers Ridgeback Group, 31 stories tall. It's an all-rental block containing 399 apartments. The architects have worked hard to deliver a building that's not just a box, but one that has interesting curves. I think it looks great, but of course people complain. They say it's too tall, it's not tall enough. The brick is ugly, they should have used glass. and many other criticisms. There will be great views from the upper floors over the A58 looking towards Holbeck. I lived in tall buildings when I was in New York and the Middle East. That's my view from my apartment in Abu Dhabi, and that's 9th Avenue, Manhattan, from my room at the former YMCA, West 34th Street. It was great. I loved the views. In the past, there were no tall residential buildings in cities over here, but today, they're starting to look like cities on other continents. And now let's zoom back over to Manchester, and here too, the much praised and much criticised towers along the southwest edge of Manchester city centre. This is River Vista Gardens, standing right next to the River Irwell, not far from canals, roads and railways. These towers are made of glass, not brick. Whatever people think of them, whether tall or short, glass or brick, straight or curved, they're here to stay. And there will be more and more of them, and I'll continue to focus on them on this channel, whilst also taking a look at these superb heritage buildings, which look so much better today than they did 60 years ago, when they were still all covered in soot, or most of them. And just a closing thought, over the past weeks I've been to Sheffield, Leeds, Bradford, Liverpool, not to mention Belfast and Dublin. I've loved using the trains across northern England, especially Stockport to Sheffield, so much quicker than by road. Looking down using Google Earth, those cities seem far apart, but they're brought closer together by modern infrastructure, by motorways and railways, air routes and telecoms. I like the idea of linking the northern cities into an extended megacity, reaching out to Dublin and Belfast in the west, Newcastle, Glasgow and Edinburgh to the north. In today's world, connectivity is king. This is a theme I intend to pursue in future videos. So I hope you found this video interesting. Please like, subscribe, share, post a comment, and if you'd like to support what I'm doing, go to buymeacoffee.com/AidanEyewitness. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und auf Wiedersehen in Leeds und in Manchester.